Welcome to the inaugural episode of Words Are Bullshit. I am one of your hosts, Sean.
Is this really a type of thing where we say hello?
Yes, we're supposed to say hello.
That feels weird because you say hello to an audience and then you just start talking like no one's there.
Yeah, I mean, they need to at least know who you are.
I know who I am. Is that not enough? Yeah, sure. I'm David. This is David Scott.
Well, now I feel awkward because I didn't say my last name.
Should I not have done that?
I don't know. Well, my name's Sean Foley. Anyways, like I said, welcome to the first episode of Words Are Bullshit, the only podcast on the internet that has no idea what it's going to talk about as it starts to record.
I have some ideas what we're going to talk. I want to talk about that fact sheet.
Oh, this lovely fact sheet that I spent minutes and minutes on Wikipedia finding facts about how words are actually bullshit and they're only used to hurt and lie to people.
You're talking funny.
I am talking funny?
Yeah. No, you're talking different right now.
Well, of course I'm talking different. This is how you talk.
This is your internet voice?
No, this is probably more my internet voice, but it's a sad voice that looks at stuff it shouldn't look at and prays to God the internet never, or the government never finds it.
Nice. So what inspired you to this particular fact sheet?
I thought it would be interesting to do the first episode, since this is the real one, actually have something to talk about. You know, facts. A predetermined list of topics of interest that people on the internet might learn from.
Is dinosaur erotica on the Kindle a real thing?
Yeah, you didn't hear about it on the Colbert Report?
Yeah,
you can do that. Like, there's this one called The Velociraptor's Nest, apparently.
I don't use the Kindle anymore. Can I get this on other things?
Yeah, you can download the Kindle app. And for those of you who don't know and haven't watched the Colbert Report, apparently they've really opened up what you can have on the Kindle store, including erotica, some of it stuff you would never find anywhere else with the Kindle marketplace.
Look, that's not new. They've been printing out erotica that no one would ever read on the Kindle for years.
Well, you know what?
That's part of the reason I don't use the Kindle.
I finally read a new Piers Anthony book because he now does erotica on Kindle.
Does it do child porn erotica?
What?
We're talking about Piers Anthony here. I don't know what he would write about, except I've read his books before. He really flirts with them.
Hey, the first third of the books of Zant aren't child pornography, okay? At least the first third. He didn't start out that way, at least. Mm-hmm. There's some stuff in the Robot Adept series that kind of got weird. They had a unicorn in it.
Those are not the only books that he wrote that flirted with this information.
He really likes kids around the age of like 13.
Yeah.
Very impressionable children.
When they're almost ripe.
Almost ripe.
Like it.
Just young enough.
He likes his bananas just a little bit green.
Wow. So anyways, that was one of the facts I thought would be good to put on a fact sheet.
But, you know, just because it's on the Kindle doesn't mean it's available for the Kindle app. The Kindle,
They have books that aren't available that you can...
I mean, on books, I guess if it's a book, it's going to be on everything.
Yeah. I mean, an ebook that's sold in the Kindle App Store will be... I mean, I got it... Like, I was able to pull up stuff on my tablet.
Now, they had games for Kindle, like the actual Kindle, that were not available for the Kindle app. And I don't think they were playable on the...
Really?
Yeah.
That reminds me how on my Zune they used to have video games that they gave you, and then they took them away with an update.
Yeah.
Like Hexic and other stuff to promote another game for the Xbox, and then they just stole them from you.
I was... They did... No, wait, did they?
Yeah.
I had Hexic till it was gone forever.
Like, I had it on my Zune, and I would play it on my break. Yeah. And then eventually they're like, no more. This is not a handheld gaming device. If it is the worst one ever, I guess.
You can't have this anymore.
Yeah. So eventually I noticed that I'm like, hey, no more games. When did that happen?
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't re-download them. Couldn't do anything. I didn't have to pay for them. But, you know, it's like, it's horrible.
Well, it's good that you didn't have to pay for them.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who don't feel that way. There are plenty of people who would shell out money for the most ridiculous things.
Yeah. like avatar items like I have. But no, isn't it going back to the Kindle though, it must be pretty crappy to buy a book. So you can buy a book on the Kindle store.
No, it was only games and they were free.
Oh, okay. I see.
I used to play the hell out of every word and every word crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like all the time, just compulsively.
Wow.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
As my job.
8 hours a day. You made sure to take 2 15-minute breaks. Sometimes you do it in a 9-hour stretch with an hour lunch break.
It wasn't a good job.
Okay.
I was like Mexican labor. I know no 15
So like a 16 hours a day in the hot sun, no breaks, constantly being afraid that you won't be paid and will be arrested.
Yeah, and then you would have a word that you couldn't find, and they would be like, "Find this word!
Where are these words that you speak of?
Yeah,
tell us these words.
What words do you not know that we know?"
Oh, I always like to think that I have a verbose lexicon. That ain't true at all. Yeah, my vernacular is not as strong as I wish.
But so yeah, no, those you couldn't play on the anything but the straight up Kindle.
So wait, they made this isn't ports of Flash games or something.
No.
It's not like, oh hey, here's Tetris for your Kindle.
These were games designed specifically to use that terrible screen.
Wow.
And
was this the black and white screen?
Yeah, it was the black and white screen.
Wow, with the digital ink and all that. Yeah. Huh.
Actually, I use the word terrible screen. It's terrible and amazing at the same time, like most things, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Because, no, it really is a great, amazing screen for reading on. It's perfect for that. It's very comfortable for the eyes. Bright, broad daylight. It'll never wash out. It doesn't require LCD or LED backlighting. It just works. But it's just a terrible refresh rate, and they had no color, and they couldn't do anything else. They're charging way too much for what the thing is. Yeah.
I mean, plus you can buy a tablet, for in the realm of under $200, that's a damn good ebook reader. And you can also do any internet thing you'd ever want and play games and do awesome things.
That's what drove me nuts, is what they're selling is basically an app on anything else. Just one little app, one little tiny corner of my phone or my tablet does everything the Kindle does.
Well, yeah, I mean, that one tablet that I bought from you, that it's not fancy, the screen, but it gets the job done. I can adjust the light. It doesn't hurt my eyes.
I can read at night, and that's more than I can say for the last Kindle I had. Although the last 2 generations have had backlighting.
Okay, that's something.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, not that I got to see them; they were $200. Tablet. I could already read
just buy a tablet, an Android tablet.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, I can already read at night.
Yeah,
I don't go out in the sun during the day.
Yeah, my Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 that I used to have was only $169, and it was a really awesome tablet.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about Kindle. My mom was a year or 2 ago for birthday. My brother and my sister bought my mom a Kindle. She has yet to do anything with it.
Is it open at least?
It is open, and I have used her charger to charge my phone once.
Well, it's being used for something.
Yeah, I suppose. But I went over there and I'm like, hey, Mom, let me help you with this e-reader. Mind you, I've never had an e-reader. And I'm like, what books do you want on it? They can get Project Gutenberg books and all that, And she's like, I'm like, oh, Shakespeare. Or,
isn't that
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle? And she's like, no. And then I'm like, the Bible. Want the Bible? And she still hasn't used it for anything. She loves to read.
Yeah. No, that's the weird thing for me. As soon as I got the Kindle, I started downloading books I knew I would never read.
Really?
Yeah.
So kind of like downloading games from the Humble Bundle, and you're like, I'm not going to not download it.
No, I actually like and play the games from the Humble Bundle, and I don't know what your problem with them is.
It's such a weird transition. I don't know. It's so easier to just turn on a video game system, hop on, and just play it. Nothing has to update, because I don't use a PS3. Nothing has to install, so I generally don't play on a PS3. It is a great experience unless you constantly have Steam running in the background, updating everything at all times, there's gonna be a little bit of a break sometimes.
But you said you don't like the games themselves.
There are some games that I don't feel like I'm going to play. Although I will say that I have been surprised. Like, I don't play Grand Theft Auto style games. I like Saints Row, the third, when it was on the bundle.
Yeah. They had Walking Dead. The good one.
It looks good. I need to play it. I don't know. It's just, when I'm on my computer, I'm thinking about Facebook, and I'm thinking about editing pictures in GIMP. It has to compete with everything else, and it's losing.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That is weird.
I don't know how else to explain it.
I've been playing the new Deus Ex a lot lately. I've been losing sleep over the new Deus Ex. Re-release.
So this is a re-release that they did on the Wii U, and they decided, hey, we want to make money, so we're going to release to other things.
Well,
right?
It's not so much they want to make money. They wanted someone to play it.
Anyone. They're like, oh man, why aren't the children buying our game?
Yeah, it would have been terrible to release this game for an entire system and have no one ever get to play it. That would have just been awful.
It would have been. And so Deus Ex, so they fixed the boss fights. They didn't get rid of them. So what's that like?
It's better. It's not fixed.
It's better but not fixed. Okay, so wait. So you're saying this is like breaking a window and putting like a piece of paper and some tape, and you're like, yeah, it's still going to get really cold and water might still get in, but it's better.
No, that's functional. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. Perfect metaphor, even.
Okay. Couldn't they have done that with patches, or they like completely reinvented some of the fights?
Well, no, it wasn't just patching. What they did is they released the entire game together. Like, they had this Missing Link DLC, which contained almost an entire game's worth of content. A very, very small game, but almost an entire game. Okay. And
kind of like downloading Halo and getting subs to Zombie.
Yeah,
or more like getting like Counter-Strike or something.
But imagine if that extra content fit perfectly into the story. Like in the actual game, there's a part where you're blacked out. You go into this place and then you come out the other side and you don't know what happens in between. The content fits there story-wise. So what they've done is, instead of in the actual game blacking out and going forward and then you playing the DLC later, now in the actual game, you just play the DLC.
So you switch to another character once you have submitted to the roofie blackout.
No, it's the same character.
Wait, do you forget about it?
No.
Or they're like, we don't have it in the original version. They're like, we don't have enough money to show how awesome this scene is, so you're just going to see a black screen here.
No, they just don't talk about it because it's not really central to the plot of the story.
Okay.
It's DLC.
Are you led to believe that there was something that did happen with your character that they didn't tell you?
No. They were exactly how it is. They're like, nothing important happened during this time period.
And then they're like, oh, maybe something did happen originally, so here's some DLC to download?
How are you missing this? Nothing important happens in the DLC.
Is it the Stanley Parable of DLC?
No, it's great DLC.
Okay. Well, it is great, but not important.
Right. It's not important to the story. It's just more Deus Ex.
So it's like more of the Bible. It doesn't change what the Bible is. It's just kind of cool to have.
No, it's like...
I'm confused.
You are clearly confused.
That's saying a lot. Okay, so...
So they repackaged it all together into a single cohesive game.
That people actually own a system that can play it. Is it just for PC, or did they do it for 360 and PS3?
I don't know if it got released to anything else.
Okay.
But, if you don't, you should maybe think of another topic, because I will talk about Deus Ex for forever. I think it's an amazing game. I loved the original Deus Ex. And they did something amazing with Human Revolution. They didn't just make a game that was as good as Deus Ex. They made a game that is as good as I remember Deus Ex being.
Which is completely different. I mean, could you argue that Duke Nukem Forever is... it's about as good as Duke Nukem probably should be. Duke Nukem wasn't a great game.
No, absolutely. Duke Nukem Forever was probably about as good as Duke Nukem was.
It's the game that should have been released a long time ago. It fits that role very well. It's not any better than that, and that's the problem with that. You know? It's like releasing a Mario game, then complaining that it's not imaginative because it's a Mario game.
Right. There's a difference between being as good as something is and as good as you remember something being. Because I'll tell you something, technology does advance. It does. The things we have today are better than the things we have a long time ago. People are like, oh my god, the original Zelda is the best game ever. I couldn't play it. If someone handed it to me today and said, play this, no, there are better games than that.
Hey,
no.
I beat the original Zelda a couple of years ago as an adult with a strategy guide because, I don't have time to figure shit out. I really don't,
Okay, well, yeah, when you were getting one game a year and you had to make it last, sure. No, I have different standards for games now than I did back then.
When you were a kid, did your parents ever tell you that, now, in order to get a new game, David, you have to beat this game first?
No.
Really?
My parents just didn't give me games.
Oh, okay. Reynolds?
No, I didn't. I did eventually get a Super Nintendo. But I only owned 3 games for it.
Okay, here's the games I own for Super Nintendo. Now tell me if there's an overlap. Okay.
There's an overlap.
Thank you.
No,
so what were the games?
There's one game that was overlapped.
Super Mario World?
Bingo.
Because it came with the system. Okay. For me, it was Super Mario World. The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, eventually, after spending way more money renting it than I ever should have. And Super Mario All-Stars. That was the 3 games I really had.
You only had 3 games, too?
About 3 games. But Super Mario All-Stars had Mario 1, 2, 3, and Lost Levels.
But you had parents that loved you.
We rented a lot of games. I mean, we had some games that, that weren't as impactful. Like we had Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
You know what? I did get to rent some games. My parents did. Yeah. Occasionally when we went out for a movie night, I'd rather have a game than a movie.
Yeah.
I had Super Mario World.
Okay.
Pilot Wings.
Never played it.
And Super Metroid, which to this day I still think is actually one of the best games ever made still.
Whoa. Now, I played the original Metroid.
Not a good game.
How much more naked does Samus get?
The original Metroid, not a good game.
Justin Bailey might disagree with that.
There are things you need to beat to get in order to win the original Metroid that a person would consider a secret today. There are hidden walls that you have to find and shoot out of a maze of walls. That you just can't beat the game if you don't find the spot.
Wow, so
if you had Metroid, the only way to beat it back then is to go around and shoot every wall in the game.
So there's no, this game, I know that, for example, one of the endings of the original Metroid is beat it within a certain amount of time or something, and you get a picture of, Samus in, a tank top and underwear or something.
Mm.
That's pretty edgy on the NES, and everyone was like, oh man, she's a girl. So you're saying you could at least get that, there were other endings, right? And certainly you could beat the game without shooting walls everywhere.
I don't know. The original Metroid, I never beat it.
Okay.
I got some other brain, I broke the glass, and I eventually died trying to kill her. And I was like, forget this. I have wasted enough of my life.
Oh, it's one of those where you get to the end character and you're like, I just don't care enough.
Well, see, I've played every other Metroid game, and I know what happens after you beat the boss just isn't that rewarding, and I wasn't that rewarded to begin with getting to the boss.
Especially at the very end. But remember, most people don't know what the ending is going to be, and most of the time it's, thank you for playing. So, the whole, oh my god, it's a woman! I mean, if you didn't know that going into it, because I'm assuming, since you haven't beaten it, did you know that Samus was a woman?
Yeah, I know.
Before we beat Super Metroid 2? Super Metroid, I should say.
I played Super Metroid first.
Did you know?
I knew.
How did you know?
Because,
everyone was spoiling it?
I beat it in under 3 hours. That was a challenge I did as a kid. No, I think Super Metroid holds up. I would play it now. I think its gameplay is superb. I think the only thing that suffers from it is graphics. This is something I feel differentiates it from most old games. Is most old games, I'm not sure what people remember about most old games. I try and remember the games I used. See, you eventually reach a point in your life where you have to ask the question, is this as good as I remember it being?
Link turned into a pink bunny. Link to the Past holds up.
Does it?
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It's still really effing hard, apparently, to some people. And I'm like, this game is so easy. And then I forget that we used to call the Nintendo hotline that I found the number for on the back of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. But after you beat it, it's like, is that like how Metroid is? Once you've beaten it, it's not really that hard?
Maybe, but I've never heard anyone speak really fondly of the original Metroid. Super Metroid is it.
Really?
That's the shit, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of where it set the standard. I mean, no one talks about Metroid or Metroid 2 on the Game Boy.
Yeah. And there's so many subtle things that are great about it. Like, you can beat the game without any hints. It's very straightforward, as long as you notice and pay attention to things. But, there are things you can do that expand and change the way you play the game completely.
See, for me, when I played Super Metroid when I was a kid and a little bit older on emulator, it's like, I'm like, okay, I go to the left, I get the ability to turn to a ball, I go roll around a bit, I go to the right a bit, go up or down, and then I end up getting like to a wall or something. I can't find it. It just didn't engage me and make me want to keep playing.
Once you turn to a ball and get ball jump, I tried to play as much of the game as possible as in a ball. Like, follow me to a new life and a new world.
Okay.
People, this game was made to be played as a person, but I'm a ball now.
Okay, so that was your, for a lot of the characters, the suit up moment, like Tony Stark getting into Iron Man. For you, not suiting up Samus, because you don't
I'm
suit
a basketball
Samus.
now.
I'm a ball! I am a bowling ball, and you will respect my alternate game style choice.
Yeah, and there were bosses you could beat like that. First of all, you could open most doors with the super bomb or the bomb. I mean,
yeah, you could. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, unless it was like just a plain up missile door, in which case the super bomb, for whatever reason, being more powerful, couldn't do it because it wasn't the right missile. But there were bosses. You could go in there and just spam them with not very many.
But you only get those little bomb mines things that you let off, and those couldn't have been very strong.
Yeah. But, anywho, so, no, I still think it is one of the most perfect games. It's, technically well done. No bugs. There are very, very few bugs. The, game flow holds up. If you play it, disclaimer, I've played it enough to beat it in under an hour. I used to play this game once a day, sometimes twice a day. The whole game. Wow.
Even I, for Link to the Past, my most favorited game in the entire pantheon of games. Like, I would have to switch to Mario after a while because I'd get bored.
Yeah, I was trying to beat it in under an hour.
Wow.
I could do it really close. If I were to just load it up right now, I could do it in an hour and 20 minutes.
I might have to challenge you at some point. Can you do it inebriated?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah.
That might be an interesting Let's Play at some point.
I've played games since then that I feel hit all the same notes really well, but they were buggy and they were not as technically well executed. Like this is the thing. I'm very, very picky about the quality of my games. I actually don't think old games are as good as a lot of people seem to think they are. I think we've made a lot of improvements.
What is your opinion about games that it's like, oh my god, it's so retro and sprite looking because we didn't have the money to spend it on a huge budget for graphics?
I don't get why you say that. No, that's not why. I think there is a cool...
Oh, no. It's all style, and that was their choice. Aesthetic. It was their aesthetic, yeah, clearly.
I think there is...
Every single indie game, that's their chosen aesthetic, I agree.
You, as a person who used to edit sprites...
Yes, I loved editing sprites.
It is an aesthetic choice. They're not doing it for cheapness. They're doing it because they have a way that makes it look cool to play. If you notice games that have that pixelated art now, they don't look the same as they used to.
They don't. They have like black borders, and they look a lot nicer than they did, especially on HD televisions.
They're doing really cool things with the graphics, using those sprite-based, style.
Yeah.
To move forward. It's not the same.
But, for everyone that doesn't do the sprites accurately, like, I love it. Capcom released a free game called Mega Man X Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And that was Korean made by a fan. And it was like NES styled, the art, and they tried to do it similar to the palette styles and all that. And you get to fight like the Street Fighter characters after a level themed around them. But there's always that one goddamn fan who's like, okay, they're not doing the right colors, or it's like they used one extra color that they shouldn't have. Like,
that man is autistic.
He's autistic. Might have Asperger's at the very least.
No, for real. There are people who just don't like change, like to the point.
Or they're like, they think the whole point is this is supposed to be an NES game. It's like, dude, you're using a portal gun. This isn't an NES game.
Yeah, no. There are people who just can't abide change or things that no longer conform to them. And you know what? I identify with that. I have been left behind. Mm-hmm. What they're feeling, and regardless of whether or not I agree with what they're feeling, what they are feeling is that something that they loved doesn't care about them anymore. They're not the core audience.
So but is it also though kind of like the way old Nintendo fanboys feel?
It's like how you felt after the first year of owning the Wii, when you realized suddenly Nintendo's not making games for you.
It's funny. It's like they loved who I was.
They didn't.
No. They're like, oh, dude, you liked Mario when you were like 12, buddy. Here's a new Mario game. You like Mario?
The Mario games were good, though.
They were good, yeah.
No, those were still good. Yeah. Those aren't the games they were making. Those were
like two new Super Mario Brothers games on the Wii, I think. And 2 Mario Galaxies, and
but they were
2 Zeldas.
They were like, well, here, you can have Mario. What really bothered me about the Wii is, for every one substantial game that you could play from beginning to end and enjoy, there were a billion. Like, Like little, what are they called?
Shovelware?
No. Shovelware could be anything. A shovelware...
There needs to be a game just called Shovelware, I think.
That'd be interesting.
Anyways, what were we saying?
Mini-games.
Mini-games, yeah. It's like, hey, you liked Wii Sports? How about Wii Play? You liked Wii Play? How about, Namco micro game thing. How
Not
about
even Wii Sports, because I'll tell you this about Wii Sports. You could get a substantial game session out of a round of golf in Wii Sports, or a substantial game session out of just playing tennis. These aren't mini games. Those are full games. People play tennis.
Yeah.
People play golf. But when you start, breaking up everything into different versions of, what do you call that, where you hit the gopher into the hole?
Whack-a-mole?
Whack-a-mole.
Moles
are not gophers.
Moles aren't gophers. And neither are prairie dogs.
No, prairie dogs are gophers.
They are?
Yeah.
So the overdramatic... What was it? The one that meme where the whole...
They're technically related to the gopher. They're...
Okay.
If anything, they're more gopher than gophers are. Gophers are the offshoots of prairie dogs.
Okay. So when everyone's like, that overdramatic gopher is actually a prairie dog, you're like, shut it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the goddamn meme.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about gophers or prairie dogs.
Prairie dogs are cuter.
They're not as cute as Arthur. The dog.
That's a tough call. Actually, speaking of Arthur, was he a dog?
Arthur? Your dog?
The cartoon Arthur.
The cartoon Arthur?
Arthur. Do you not remember Arthur?
From The Tick?
No. Like the children's cartoon. Okay.
Oh! With the glasses?
Yeah.
Oh!
Was
Arthur!
he a dog?
I
Was
didn't
he a
really
moose?
watch that much. I have no idea. I thought he was like a rat or something. I don't know. He was a light brown thing with glasses with weird ears.
He could have been a dog.
He could have been a lot of things. The one thing he couldn't be was normal.
Well, I don't know. In that world, everyone was different. Functionally, that's normal. If everyone's weird and you're just as weird as everyone else, you're normal.
That is the definition of normal.
Yeah. Actually, the definition of normal is the average. So what you would do is you would add all the weirdness together, divide it by the total weirdness, and that specific set of... normal doesn't exist.
Okay, so you're saying that in this world that we have, and once you start adding all the people up,
yeah,
and all these different minorities, like cosplayers, like nudists...
Wait,
like
I thought we were talking about people.
Nudists are people. They're the most people.
Nudists
They're more people than you.
You just called cosplayers people.
Oh my god! I am like standing like 2 yards away from like a Link hat and a pink wig.
No, I see your Link costume over there.
I am hurt. I made that hat based on the original Legend of Zelda, and I had to play that game and beat it just to prove that my whole, I won't cosplay as a character from a game I haven't beaten before. It wasn't worth it. Wasn't.
So, no, for real, just briefly, I have ADD. I'll go ahead and throw this out here so people know in the future. I will latch on to a topic like... a dung beetle on dung. No, that's a terrible analogy. I was trying to think of something terrible, but it's the most...
Like a dung beetle on shiny red ball. What?
No. See, no, that is a common misconception about ADD.
That's how my ADHD works a little bit. Like sometimes it interrupted Thanksgiving once because I was just focusing on someone used a friggin' one of those little safety pins as an earring.
Well, this is the thing that people don't know. When people think of ADD, they only think of you not being able to focus on a single topic, but that's not true. Because
you lose all sense of reality to anything else but your topic now.
There are topics you will latch on to. It's more like you are in the ocean. You are in the ocean, and one of those topics is a life raft that you can't get in. You can only hold on to. You hold on to it for dear life because you can't grab anything else.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Based on the first half of what you said?
See, this is my perfect point. You know, he's talking about one thing, and this other guy's got ADD, and he's jumping to another topic entirely. But see, what I've watched on this topic...
No, I think it was the Wonder Years or something. Ben Savage, I think, he had like a history book or something. He's like flipping through the pages, and there's like a clock, like a flip book of a clock.
I've never seen the second half of a Wonder Years episode.
Oh, it ends horribly. He becomes a alcoholic in like middle school and kills everyone. I hope. I haven't seen it.
No. Like, I've seen every Wonder Years episode ever, but I was a very empathetic young man.
Uh-huh.
And so halfway through the episode, what would happen is they put him in a situation that's just the most embarrassing situation ever. And I couldn't watch.
I know what you're talking about. It's like for me when the episode of Gargoyles, when they turn the female protagonist into a gargoyle, and it's just so ridiculously and weird, and it's awkward for the gargoyles, and you feel awkward watching it, and you just gotta turn it off and walk away.
I felt so bad for him. Every episode ever, I would turn the channel. I couldn't watch it.
Wow.
I know what's happening next. I'm not going to watch it.
Wow.
No human being should have to suffer that indignity. So I don't know how any episode of the Wonder Years ever ended.
I think he eventually gets the girl, maybe.
No, eventually he
turns to bourbon?
No, eventually he plays in The Princess Bride, and then he never works again.
Ooh. By the way, Carrie Ellis will be at Comic Palooza in 2014.
Sweet.
If we went there, that'd be something to do.
I'm going.
You are?
I am.
Can I go for free?
I don't know if I'm going for free.
Are you going because you gotta get some Carrie Ellis?
Last year I could have gotten paid to go there.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I okay.
I forget why I didn't. I was going.
It's not a holiday or something. Like a Labor Day or something?
I was going out of town, so it was a last-minute job that they asked me to do, and I forget. It might have been something. I don't normally turn down work.
Yeah.
So.
Was the work at Comic Palooza? Or
no, yeah.
Was it a still walking gig at Comic Palooza?
I don't know. I didn't go. I couldn't go.
Oh, okay. You're like, you don't even ask questions sometimes when you're like, not going to do it. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I really wanted to do it, but I was like, I have something else I have to do.
Well, I think with that, we are going to end our first episode of Words Are Bullshit.
We can't possibly be at the hour mark.
We're not at the hour mark. We're at past 30. We're about 30 minutes in, though, because we had to break it up a little bit.
Should we do this? Should we time this in the future, or are we shooting for a specific time?
We have ADD and or ADHD.
Okay.
We should time ourselves.
We should.
Because you have to be at work in an hour. You probably want to do something with your life.
Chicken. It's chicken day.
It is chicken day. Okay, with that, we're going to go get some chicken. Thank you for listening to Words Are Bullshit. Catch you guys next time.
Wait. See if you can spot the really big lie I told Sean this week.
Figure out if I'm actually getting chicken with David next week on Words Are Bullshit.